Hello everyone. This is a demonstration on how to program the Propac 508 DTS RoboPlat. So we're currently in the home screen, and in order to set the programs, you do need to have this programmed so that you got the guy with the tie. So there's two different modes of programming for the Propac. There's a standard program which you can set one stop point within your total. You can either use the eye up at the top, or you can set the distance that it's going to go and wrap and then go back down. So a couple of things. Let's go here, right there. So right now we have test 1, test 2. So we're going to go to product number 3, which is a basic, nothing's been done yet to this program. This is standard out of the box, is what it's going to look like. So we want to set the program up for our pallets. Now our pallets happen to be cabinets about 90 inches high with 3 separate layers. So this isn't going to do a great job for us because we can only program one layer and we want to wrap the second layer, but just to show how to set this up. So this here is your tension, how hard the film is going to stretch and pull it tight as it wraps. So depending on your film, we started with about an 85, and the 50 was a little too tight and it would break occasionally. So we ended up going up to a 120-pound film, and the 50 works pretty good there. So you can go all the way up to 100 or down to 0. You can see right here the number 2, and that number 2, that is the number of wraps it's going to do at the base. So it's going to do 2 wraps at the base at 10 turns. I'm assuming that's 10 turns per minute, so about 10 seconds a revolution. 250 is how hard it's going to pull the pre-stretch. So the higher this number, you're going to use less film because it's going to stretch it out thinner. In our case, we're not going to want to do that. This one here is your up speed. As it moves up, the pallet stops, does 2 wraps, and moves back down. Right now it's set at 15 up and 15 down. So and then if you click on this, and this is the number of turns per minute, or how fast it's going to spin. And so we're going to hit that center button right there. So this is your setup. So you can see right there that this is grayed out. Hopefully you can see that that's grayed out. Can't get enough. Anyway, this is the cut up here, the scissors. And so if you click on that and turn it blue, then that means it's active. So if it's grayed out, like these two are and this one, that means that they're not going to be affected at all in this program. So when you run this program, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, and that's it. This 11 inches is telling you when the sensor hits the top of the package, the pallet, it's going to go up an additional 11 inches and do the top 2 wraps. So, and typically you want to set that between 9 and 11 inches. Hit this button here. You can turn on roping, and this is how many turns it's going to turn. So one end is one full revolution. So you can change that to, say, 3, and it'll turn 3 revolutions in the roping mode. Now there is no save, so whatever you're doing currently is what this is going to be. So let's name this test 4, or test 3. Let's try test 3. So now this is test number 3. So what we want to do for test 3, we do not want to use this setup, okay? we want to manually tell it, we want it to wrap so many times at a certain speed at the first level, then go up to the next level and wrap so many times with maybe a different speed, and then we want it to go up to the third level and wrap so many times at a speed, and then we want it to go up to the top. So in order to get to that, where you can set each layer individually, we need to go back here and we turn this on. So when this is blue and red slashed and it's blue, that means that you've got layers on. So now when we hit the home button, we're going to see a different screen. Now what we see is layers 1 through 5 going up and layers 6 through 9 coming back down. And you can program each one individually and specifically to do a certain thing. So the first thing we're going to do is click on layer 1. So when we start this program up, we want it to stay down tight to the floor. So we don't want to put, we don't want to have that turned on. Let's see. Right there. See 11.8? It's going to go up 11.8. We want to turn that down. And we want to go down to 0. So you can use the slider. So basically, we want to stay down low so we can catch the edge of the pallet as it's as the pallet's going around, so we get a good wrap around the pallet. So the speed is fine. We want to stay at 0. 50 psi. We'll keep the pre-stretch at 25. It's going to go 2 wraps and 2 wraps around. The up speed, once it gets done with those 2 wraps, it's going to start moving up at 15. Now, we don't want it to move up near that fast, because what we found is that as it moves up, it leaves big gaps. So we want to wrap a little bit tighter completely, so we're going to put that at 8. This pre-cut is on, meaning that when we're done with the cycle, it's going to pre-cut, okay? And the up and down arrow means it's going to go up one side and down the other. So you can set it so it just goes from the bottom to the top and stops, or you can set it from the top down and it stops. But we want to go up and down. This icon tells you that there's an eye sensor on the carriage that goes up and down, and it's going to start at the bottom and it's going to go up till it hits that sensor. And when that sensor goes off, so let's go up here to 5. So when that, see, it's lit up there as a sensor. So when that sensor goes up, it's going to go past the top of the pallet by 11.8 inches. You want to be at least, that number needs to be at least 9 and probably no more than 11 or 12. So the actual top of your film is about 7 or 8 inches below that eye. So you need it to travel past the top. So if you left this at 0, it would hold it down about 8 inches from the top of your product. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is, we'll start back here at L1, and we need to, we're going to do 2 wraps. We're going to go up at 8. We're going to do, we don't want to spin it at 10. When we first start off, it tends to go a little too fast. We're going to slow it down to 6 for these first 2, and then we're going to tell it to do a rope. What this does is, it's going to, as it's wrapping these 2 wraps, they're going to be rope. Okay? So, the next thing we want to do is we want to turn on level 2, and we want to turn that on, so it needs to be green. Okay, so now we want to go up to level 2. So where is level 2 at? We need to tell it that level 2 is at 30 inches. So that's the bottom of the wrap, and so we probably want to be about 26. Okay, so it's going to go up. It's going to stretch it at 50, pre-stretch at 25, and let's I tell you what, that's maxed out. We're going to turn it down to about 13 there. So we're going to go up to 26 inches. We're going to make 2 wraps, and we're going to ascend past this at 8. 7, 9, 8, 2, that's fine. And we're going to go ahead and speed it up to 10. So we don't need any rope on this one. And we are going to change this because we want to set the height. So the next one we need to go up to our 60-inch mark. And so we want it 50. We're going to change this back down to about 13. And let's look at this one right quick. So it's about 50%. That's good. We're going to tension it about 13. And this one is 60 inches high. So that's where the bottom is. And so we need to go down to about 55 and 56. Possible. Dialed in here. So now it's going to go up to 56. It's going to wrap 2 times. The speed going up needs to be at about 9. The speed revolution is 10, which is fine. No rope. Okay, now we're going to go to the top. So the top of this we know is 90 inches. So our film is 24. So we need to be about, I would say about 11 inches. But let's go a little bit less. Let's look and see what 2 inches. So, okay, so this needs to be changed to 90. I'm sorry. So we're up at 90. Now that's the top of the pallet, and that's the top of the wrap. You can see there, they're saying the height of the top of the wrap is 90. So we want to go about 5 or 6 inches over. So we got 50. Let's take our tension. Let's go ahead and pull our tension back to about 13. We're going to do 2 wraps, and then we're going to go down at about 12. Since we've already hit everything once, we're going to spin at 10, and we're not going to do a rope at the bottom. So let's go in here, test number 3. Let's call this one how do we, there we go. We're going to call this 93 let's see, 93 layer. Okay, so this is a 93 layer. So now let's go ahead and test it. So let's go back to home. And so when we're home, so when we hit the green button, it should start wrapping. So I'm going to get this set up, and then here we go. All right, let's cut her apart.